This awareness indicates you will recall that the memory is stored in the etheric, between the mental and etheric bodies, and that it can be altered in the human. It can also be erased, and by taking the soul and these bodies from one physical body and putting them into another replica of the physical body, they can actually bring about a changed person with a different philosophy or different values, and yet the entity would essentially be the same personality. This awareness indicates that perhaps this can answer many questions that entities have had in regard to past notable figures that have been indicated by Dr. Better as having been replaced by duplicate bodies. This awareness suggests the readings continue. Warning: manipulation and control, fear and favor. The Pentagon, the CIA, NSA, FBI, NSC, etc. seek to capitalize on the beliefs of the American public. The secret government is getting ready to grave accent stage a contact landing with aliens in the near future. This way they can grave accent control the release of alien-related propaganda. We will be told of an interstellar conflict. But what looks real may be fake. What is disinformation? Is your attention being diverted by the strategy of a grave accent shadow plan? Cosmic awareness. This awareness indicates that this refers to the scenario described in Stan Dato's book, The Cosmic Conspiracy, as that which would be a staged version, using the beliefs of the American people in regard to the Book of Revelation, wherein entities would be expecting the return of Christ after some kind of event or situation that might lead to a kind of Armageddon. This awareness indicates that the only thing about this is that there is, in fact, the threat of the reptilian invasion. These entities coming in a planetoid which does not travel at above light speed. This because of such great number of entities emitting a planetoid for the transference of the population. This awareness indicates that if the so-called invasion occurs before 1996, and especially if it occurs around 1993, entities can probably be correct in assuming it is staged. It may be staged to set up the atmosphere for a one-world government. If it is held off until approximately 1996 or grave accent 97 or thereafter, then entities can presume it is probably for real, as by that time the reptilians would have made their approach, would be close enough to pose a real threat. Berkeley, Los Alamos labs chosen to explore makeup of human genome. Overt and covert research. As U.S. Energy Secretary, John Harrington named the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory and New Mexico's Los Alamos National Laboratory to house new advanced genetic research centers as part of a project to decipher the human genome. The genome holds the genetically coded instructions that guide the transformation of a single cell fertilized egg into a biological being. The Human Genome Project may well have the greatest direct impact on humanity of any scientific initiative before us today, said David Shirley, director of the Berkeley Laboratory. Cosmic awareness. This awareness indicates that this is the exploration of the genes and all of the codes that go into creating the various life forms based on the patterns involved in the code of the molecular structures that make up the genes. This awareness indicates that there has been some research that approximately 15% of this genetic coding has been researched by your universities, and the research being classified in such a way as to allow them to splice, remove, delete, add to that genetic code in order to create changes in the code, that it can be used for destroying or creating diseases, destroying or creating life forms, destroying or creating plants, animals, or whatever that may be tampered with genetically. This awareness indicates that it can also be used to modify any of these things. Thus, it has the potential for altering all forms of life, for good or ill, and for creating all types of life in different forms. This awareness indicates that the effort is to make out and decode all of the DNA, and in so doing, have complete control over the life forms and the creation, modification or destruction for these forms. It is through this information that many of the creatures described on Level 6 in Nightmare Hall, such as the many-legged human, were created genetically. Atlantean genetics, the creation of the things. This awareness indicates that you will recall the Edgar Cayce readings. In the readings on Atlantis, in which he described the things which the Atlanteans created, these were grossly distorted creatures. That the grave accent things that were created became a part of society. These were also entities who were the product of alien technology in the time of Atlantis. This awareness indicates that these creations were also grotesque, and of those things which are common to humans today, the cat and the pig were direct creations of Atlantean genetics. This awareness indicates that the pig having some human genes intermixed with earlier wild-born, the cat being created from genes that had belonged to the greats. You will notice the cat-like eyes of the greats. These were incorporated into the genes used for creating the cat. This also is a reason why there were cat societies that worshipped the cat, thinking they were the kind of reflection of the gods of the time. Many entities seeing these great aliens as gods. This awareness suggests the reading continued. Why pork is considered unclean meat by the Jews? Followed-up question. I was wondering if these human genes in the pig could possibly be connected to the ancient Jewish philosophy that pork is unclean meat and should not be eaten. Cosmic awareness. This awareness indicates that this acts in the affirmative, that there is also the concern about the cloven hoof, that entities were permitted to eat food of a certain type, but not from those animals having a cloven hoof. The cloven hoof also has been associated with the devil. This awareness reminds you also that the great aliens have 2 toes. This awareness indicates that the entities cloning the Hebrews were of a type that were what you might call enemies of the greats, and did not want their clones fraternizing with or being associated with the great or anything that had connection with them. Also did not want them eating food that had human genes in it, such as the pig. And a file Winston himself text. Yet another file plagiarized for your benefit by Winston himself. The search for the Illuminati. This is